Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The host of the Mindless Midnight Show would like to welcome you to their latest episode full of late-night humor as we explore just about anything with our very special guest. Without further ado, here are your hosts, Nick and Josh.
Warning, some of the contents of this podcast may be found offensive. This podcast is not for the weak, lack of experience, and common sense, including children, unless they have been given permission.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Mindless Midnight Show. Today our special guest is none other than Don Smith. He has been producing movies and he has credits for acting in 23 productions, and we're really excited to talk to him. Don, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. There are more than that 23, but some of them weren't enough to get listed on the IMDb. So.
I don't know how all that works.
Yeah, I don't either.
Well, it's fun. Just about anything can get listed on IMDb. It's just sometimes people forget to put your credits in there.
Okay.
So you got to go all Karen on them. Be like, I need to speak with your manager and put my shit on here.
I'm not that dude. I do what I do out of love for what I do, and I don't, if I don't get the IMDb credit, okay, I'm still in it.
Right?
That's true.
Exactly.
Very
well,
true.
that's good to know because I never really knew how that works. So it's interesting. So I wonder I guess whoever runs IMDb is in charge of giving credit where it's due, I guess.
Well, there are a lot of different ways. Basically, whoever does the promos for your film, usually it's the director himself that's putting the stuff up there, the director, the filmmaker, and you have to get on there. Usually they'll link it to your page, but sometimes I've gotten on there before and found as many as 4 of me, and I had to claim them, and then IMDb gets a hold of the director and makes sure it's legit, and then they go ahead and give me that credit. So,
oh wow,
yeah, it's nothing too fancy, but yeah, okay. Usually the director is the one that puts them up there.
Is there any fancy perks for that star meter of yours?
No.
Oh man.
not at all.
Oh man. So I mean, you've done a lot of. I mean, I was looking at your IMDb and it said that you had a lot in acting, but you also did like producing.
Yeah, I got involved as a producer with a handful of them. Some of them were just because I put money towards the making of them, so they gave me that credit. But there are some, I work with William Lee a lot with Cinema Lexicon Productions, and I'm one of his producers now just because I've been working with him for close to 7 years now. I think we're starting my 9th film with him. So because I do a lot of extra stuff behind the scenes rather than just acting, I do a lot to help set things up, to find locations, to basically do a little bit of everything from location management to casting to paperwork. So I got invited to be a producer as well. So
wow,
okay, awesome. Cool. Super awesome. Yeah, I watched a few of the trailers and they look pretty intense. Some of them. They get a little out there. I'm like, oh man, something's going on.
Yeah, William makes some pretty intense movies. So.
I like it. I mean, man, if you guys ever film in Florida, let me know.
Oh, you never know. You never know.
So how would somebody that is like essentially a nobody like me want to try to get into being a producer? What would you try to do to get into that avenue?
Get to know as many local actors and local filmmakers as possible. I never really looked to get into producing. It just kind of happened because I worked so well with the Cinema Lexicon team so many times, and I know them very, very well. I mean, like I said, we had the same tight-knit group for most of our productions. Different actors here and there, but the production crew is usually a lot of the same people. And it's just, I tried several years ago, like probably 15, 20 years ago, to get into film as far as acting. And back then there weren't as many streaming services. It was a lot harder to find a distributor for your film. If you were an indie film, it was a chore to try to get anything out there.
Wow.
Much so than it is now. I mean, it's still you're still fortunate if you get if you're able to get the film out there and get a distributor and get on some of the streaming networks, but it's not as difficult as it used to be. And I kind of lost interest in a lot of things. And about almost 7 years ago now, I started getting into local comedy as a comedian, and that's how I got to know a lot more of the local actors, the local filmmakers, and it's just a huge network. You get to network as much as you possibly can, and you start to get in more and more films and the more and more TV spots. So,
yeah, you really got to put yourself out there. I guess that's the main thing. If you wanted to get anywhere, you got to just go for it. And I would say get used to some sort of rejection at first, because I feel like it's almost like you're probably going to get rejected if it's something you're really wanting to get into. Like if I decided I wanted to be like an actor and just like throw myself out there, I feel like there'd be so many times where it's like hit, like no. And then finally you maybe catch a break, you know?
Yeah, I've been on some very uncomfortable early on when I was starting out. I did a lot of very uncomfortable auditions that were more like really bad job interviews. I remember the first film audition I went to was so uncomfortable. It was me and two other people and a camera. I had no idea what the script was. There was no heads up. It was a cold read. And it was two dead-eyed, emotionless people just staring at me while I tried to give a performance into a camera. And it's like, you guys don't like me. You were rude from the time I walked in. I was like,
oh my God.
I'll go ahead and read, but I don't think I want any part of this crap.
Right? Yeah.
Was there a black couch?
Yeah, exactly. That's what. Well, that's why they were dead-eyed and staring at me. They could not believe I got undressed that quickly. I really wanted that part, guys.
I'll do whatever it takes, guys. Like, dude, put your clothes back on.
Yeah, they said this is a religious film.
That's awesome.
This is a commercial for the Watchtower convention. Put those back on.
This is the Watchtower, baby. That's too funny. So how long?
Sorry.
How long overall have you been doing everything in that field?
I started out acting in my mid-20s, just local theater mostly, and which doesn't pay anything, but it was a lot of fun. It was, again, love of the craft, and I did several local theater productions over the years, and kind of fell out of that. Like I said, I tried to work in a couple films back 10, 15, 20 years ago, and things just didn't work out, so I got out of it. I went on several auditions other than that bad one that were equally bad. I did get a couple of films in here and there, but you get cast in something that's really cool, and then the financing falls through and they scrap the whole project. And there was one I was so excited about. It was Hell's Gate is what the name of the film was, and it was.
I like the sound of it.
I already like the sound of that.
Well, Hell's Gate is a real place. It's the nickname of Bobby Mackey's Music World in northern Kentucky, which is one of the most haunted places in the country. I mean, there are stories. There have been several exorcisms done on this place. I mean, there are actual police reports of things going on witnessed by police officers. So it's not just drunk people in the bar that are seeing these things. There are actually police reports on events that happened in this place.
Is this the place that has like the devil's chair, like in bricks?
I don't believe so. What this place had was it had a well of blood underneath it. In the early 1800s, it was a slaughterhouse. Nice. And they drained all the animal blood into this well in the basement. And of course, it seeped out into the Licking River, which is one of the few rivers in the world that has a northern flow, which makes it that much more weird and unique. But it became, when they closed the slaughterhouse down, it became kind of a haven for Satan worshipers. And there were a lot of weird rituals that happened there, including one woman in the late 1800s named, I believe, Bailey Pearl, I think was her name. She was... She was killed and beheaded, and they never found her head. They found the guys that did it, and they pleaded guilty, but they hung them. And these guys could have gotten out of the hanging if they revealed the location of this poor woman's head, but they refused to do it because they thought whatever being they were praying to in the afterlife was going to be that much worse if they revealed the location. Yeah, it really, really creepy stuff. And I was so psyched because we were going to be filming at night on location.
Yeah, fuck that.
I was super excited about this because my whole life I've thought this was very interesting stuff, but I've never seen anything to where I could go, that was weird. I mean, I've had little spooky things here and there, but never something in a situation like that would have been like almost definitely made me a believer, because I'm very much a skeptic. And to the thought of filming down there amongst this, I was pumped, man. And like 3 weeks before we were going to film, I got the call. They lost their funding. They weren't able to film there. They were going to head back to California. I was pissed, man.
Yeah, that really sucks, because that could have been something that I feel like a lot of people would have really been interested in that. You know?
Oh, for sure.
I got to reading the backstory on this place, because this isn't information they gave me. I started looking it up. It was a speakeasy during Prohibition until the mafia came in and tried to take it over. And I mean, throughout the history of this place, whether it was a slaughterhouse or a place where the Satanists hang out, or a speakeasy or a nightclub, there were so many murders and so many unsolved weird things that happened there.
Wow.
I was really psyched to film there and didn't get to. The creepiest place I got to film was I kind of went off on a tangent from when I started.
Hey, that's what we do. That is what we do here. It's okay.
it's a mindless show, so we're just going.
Absolutely.
But I did get to film at another creepy spot called Post Town Elementary School in Germantown, Ohio.
Oh shit!
And Post Town Elementary is supposedly extremely haunted. It's been on like the Ghost Hunter shows a couple times, and other than being very, very creepy in a few places that are inexplicably very cold, just in like certain areas of a room where it has no reason to be a different temperature. Other than that kind of weird stuff, I didn't see anything. But it was definitely a creepy place.
So the curveball is with Hell's Gate. Turns out it's animal ghosts from the slaughterhouse.
That could. No, there were a lot of other people killed there too.
I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine. It's like
I cannot wait. I'm gonna look into this. I hope there's documentaries about this. I'm a huge documentary nerd.
I'm sure there are. There should be if there aren't, because I mean it's definitely one of the most haunted places in the country from everything I've looked into.
We had an interview with a psychic medium who was actually pretty mind blowing on our show. She said shit about Josh and I. There was no way in hell she could have looked it up at all. It was out there.
Yeah, it was pretty creepy.
and she's talked about different segments of the realm of paranormal shit, and how there's a spiritual and then there's paranormal. And she's like, I don't fuck with paranormal. Spiritual, that's like what I did with you guys. That's what I do. But paranormal, no way. And you're like, I want to do paranormal shit.
Oh yeah. To hell with the friendly spirits. I want the system to scare the shit out of me.
I want something to follow me home.
Yeah, I don't want something to wave at me and tell me everything is going to be okay. I want something to make shit fly around my living room.
I mean, I don't want to be scared, but I am totally down to, like, you know, dance with the demons, have some fun, but don't scare me.
Oh, shit. That's awesome.
I wake up and, like, or just randomly throughout the day, I'll have like these random little 3 scratches, and my wife calls them like little devil claws. Like when you get these 3 little scratches on you that totally unexplained. I always like really thin line scratches.
Yeah, I've heard about those.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Weird.
But I get them often, so
it's crazy how much the human race doesn't know shit about anything, and it's amazing though, like what is unexplainable.
I'm Facebook educated.
But those are the many pitfalls to acting, as things like that happen and just pull the rug out from under you, and after a while you get beaten down by it.
Yeah,
that's a damn shame.
Right, it really is.
It took a while. It took a while to get back into it. Now, I kept doing theater up until about 10, 11 years ago is the last play I did. And because of all the jobs I've had to take in between, I've had so many second shift and third shift jobs that theater is a huge commitment. You know, you're talking 3-4 months on a production. So you don't really have... If you're working nights, you're not going to be able to do it. You just don't have the time for all the rehearsals. You got to go through the set building, all of that stuff. So that's why about 10, 11 years ago, I had to stop doing that. And in order to get that rush of being on stage, that's why I decided I was going to start stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
That way I still get up on stage, but I don't have to spend week after week in rehearsals before I do.
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense. So you definitely have credits in doing productions and helping out with films in several different ways. So then you also have your radio show as well. And so so for those of you guys listening, Josh and I were on Don's radio show as well, and we had a lot of fun on there. But he's been doing that for a long time as well. You started that while you were pursuing acting too?
Yeah, actually I started the radio show shortly after I started stand-up comedy. So I've been, January 4th will be my 6th anniversary on the radio. So
okay.
Yeah, I've been doing that for 6 years. It's been a podcast for about 4 years now. I started that as a way to stay in touch with a lot of the local comedians, because at the time I was working so much, I couldn't get on stage as much as I wanted. So, because I was working a full-time job, plus I was a full-time student going back to finish my bachelor's degree later in life. So which I did finally get at 39 years old.
Hey.
But I was actually going full-time, 15 to 18 credit hours the semester, which was brutal, on top of working 40 hours a week. Plus still trying to get time up on stage to do comedy. So I figured, since I can't get on stage as much, but I'm at the school a lot, I'll just start the radio show there at the WWSU radio station, which is at the college.
Yeah.
So that's how I got started in that. It was a way to kind of keep relevant in the local comedy scene, I guess, and get to know more people. And besides, it's kind of cool bringing local comics onto the radio that probably haven't been on a radio interview before.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a lot of fun, especially when you do your segment where you talk about the weirdest news of the day. You know, like that's such a great idea. Like,
I love here's how that started. Completely by accident. Because when I first started the show, I had the radio show. I had 2 hours to fill. And at the time, I wasn't really good about booking people. So I'd have 1 or 2 people on for the entire 2-hour show.
Oh,
well, 45 minutes in, we run out of shit to talk about. So what I started doing is I would pick articles kind of like I still do now, only now I pick them off the computer as we're talking. But before, what I would do then is I'd put snippets of it. I still don't read the entire article, because I like to leave some things up to imagination and discussion.
Yeah.
But I would print up like 6-7 pages of just blurbs out of these news stories just to discuss. And the only reason I did that was for filler.
Sure. Yeah.
Now it's just become such a regular part of my show. And I do it on other shows now. I do every now and then I'll do the Freaky Friday news segment on WWSU's morning show. Every couple of weeks I'll do that. And I have another show that I do on Sundays, a weekly show called Breaking the Fourth Wall, where I do the news buffet segment on that show, which is all just the same crap that I do on my show, just different news stories, because I like to keep them. I like to be surprised by them.
Well, and the
it was fun.
The fact that they're always so damn random, it not only gives you a shock laugh because it's a what the hell moment. Then when you have people that are relatively good at talking and coming up with jokes on the fly, then you just continuously go and go and go.
Oh yeah,
Perfect.
It's become a favorite segment to a lot of people, and that's which works for me because it was just born out of necessity.
Right.
It was certainly one of our favorites. We enjoyed it when we were on your show. We loved it.
Oh yeah. Oh, I had a blast. It was amazing.
Twinkie sniffing and all sorts of fun things.
So would you say that's probably your favorite part of doing radio, or is it the networking?
The networking, because I love getting guests on that I've never met before. I love learning about people. I mean, you get some that are duds, but most of the time people are really, they're open. They want to talk. You get a good conversation going, and that's really what it's about. There are some shows where if we're having a good enough conversation, or if there's something really, really interesting, the hell with the news segment. We'll skip it. Yeah. Because I would rather learn about my guests a little bit more. Now,
sure.
I've often thought that I should start with the news because that loosens us up. But at the same time, I kind of like going in cold without knowing anything about who I'm about to talk to. Because seriously, other than if it's somebody whose name I've heard of before in acting, I'll look up some of their stuff. But most of the time, I don't even look at a website for somebody I'm about to interview because I want to learn about them as we go. I don't want to know stuff about them ahead of time.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
You have to have mad interviewing skills. Like we're still super newbies. Like we have little outlines that we just in case.
I don't think I do. I think I just wing it and I got lucky. And sometimes it shows that I don't prepare.
At least you're humble.
Yeah.
Every now and then I'll run out of shit to say and be like, okay.
I guess there's the door. I mean,
and here's the fun part about that. I do my show as a live show. So if something like that happens, it's probably going to stay in it.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, exactly. I mean,
I like organic and I hate editing. So
yeah. Well, it's funny because our last regular episode with just Josh and I was about New Year's, and both of us don't really give a shit about New Year's. So we winged up.
Even though I have this on.
Yeah. we pretty much just winged the entire episode, and it was one of our funniest ones ever. We barely even talked about New Year's, but that's just kind of how it is sometimes when, you know.
Yeah, it's fun to wing stuff and not know what you're doing. Sometimes it's terrifying. I don't do that. I don't do that on stage very much doing comedy because that's really hard to pull off and do well.
Yeah,
and that terrifies me. Now I've gone up with nothing but notes of stuff I wanted to talk about without any real jokes written and was able to pull it off. But that's a rarity.
Well, everybody was drunk.
What's that?
I said everybody was drunk.
Yeah, I think that night I went up with so much anger, people were afraid not to laugh at me.
What you did? You pulled a Lewis Black on them, is what you did.
I remember the first time I did that. The first time I went up on stage, I didn't have jokes. I had stuff on a piece of note paper that I wrote down as little as 5 minutes before I hit the stage.
Wow.
And I went on a rant for like 6-7 minutes because it was at an open mic, so it was just a 6-7 minute set. So but I went on a rant the whole time. I was calling out other comics that pissed me off earlier that day. I gave all kinds of hell to the comic I followed on stage, which got the crowd on my side right away. Because do you guys do comedy?
Oh, but I love it. I mean, we think we're funny.
Every now and then, as a comic, you follow somebody on stage that just bored the shit out of an audience for 5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And I'm very high energy anyway. And that night I was high energy anger.
Oh, yeah. I can only imagine.
This guy before me was so deadpan and I've known him for a long time. The guy's he'd been doing comedy for like 4 years.
Okay.
But he never learned to tell a joke. He would tell a premise and then giggle at a joke that he kept to himself and didn't share with the rest of us. And I don't know what the hell he was doing. But he's done that every time he's gone up. Well, I followed him that night, and he's very monotone. He doesn't move, very low energy. No. And I went up and just exploded on the stage. And I started, I think the first thing I said was, give it up for, I'm not going to mention his name, but I said, give it up. I'm going to keep the same energy as him. I'm just going to fucking take a nap for 10 minutes. And I just there were things that happened earlier that day that I called out and did callbacks to other comics that it was a weird perfect night.
Yeah, sure.
But the setup of what happened before that, I was on stage all weekend hosting, and that weekend my wife moved out. So I had a lot built up.
Oh, God, yeah.
And I went into this open mic after all this was happening that weekend, and I had to be professional 3 shows in a row. I went up for that open mic, and I just let it fly. And it was some of the weirdest.
I would have paid to see all of that. For sure.
It got kind of dark to the point where when I went off stage, it's one of those moments, you hit something really personal. When you get off stage, you can't stop shaking. I couldn't hold my drink because I just got really deeply personal.
Like, what just happened?
It was crazy. I scared myself a little bit.
Wow. And the guy that you followed, he quit comedy after that.
I have not seen him since. He did leave. He did leave. I saw him get up and leave about 3 minutes into my set.
Hey,
that's funny.
Probably for the best, honestly.
Yeah, you saved him.
It's great.
I saved audiences is what I did.
Yes.
Yeah. I would have loved to do comedy, stand-up comedy. I'm very shy when it comes to getting up on a stage and just having a bunch of faces stare at me.
So am I.
So am I. A lot of people don't know that. I get very shy and nervous on stage. Until I hit the stage. Before I go up, I am a nervous wreck.
Wow.
I'm sure the second I hit the stage, I'm gonna drop a turd on stage. I'm gonna shit my pants. It's just gonna roll right out.
I hope they laugh at that. I hope they laugh at that. Then.
I hope so too.
Some of the jokes I've told, I'd have been better off dropping a turd, but
Yeah, I mean,
well, that's
really,
all part.
Really, I get really, really nervous before I go on stage, especially if it's been a little while. I mean, there was one show, it ended up still being one of my better sets that I've done, but I was so nervous before going on stage that if the person running the show had walked by, I was going to grab her and say, I can't do this tonight.
Wow.
It was that bad because I'm not that open. Right? Unless I'm on stage, it was the same way doing theater. I'd get really nervous before I went on stage, and once I got on stage, it was fine.
It's almost like you're in a character role, even though it's
possible. Yeah, the character's me, but it's like me enhanced.
Right, exactly. I can imagine that feeling where you're like, oh shit, and then you get on the stage, and all of a sudden you start talking, and you're like, fuck it, I got this, and then you.
The stage is your steroids.
Sometimes, sometimes it's a real downer. So I've forgotten sets on stage before.
Oh man.
I've blanked. That is harsh. I haven't done that in theater, thank God.
Man.
But
Line.
I've done it on stage. Comedy. I went up and I tried to ad lib. I tried to come up with something, and it was a train wreck. It was train wreck.
I feel like that's when some comics start looking at people in the audience like, you with your hat. Where'd you get that hat? The 1800s?
Anyone?
That's what it felt like. I have the set where that happened, the really bad one. I have that recorded somewhere. I have never had the heart to watch that one again.
But you were never hit with the tomato or anything, right?
No, that's never happened. I've been hit with some pretty harsh words.
Oh my God. So have you ever felt burnt out? Like you're supposed to go on stage and you're just not wanting to because you just like, fuck it, I don't want to. I feel like crap. And I can imagine. I feel like
2019 was a really busy year for me in comedy. I got to perform in a lot of cool places. Zany's out in Chicago with the World Series of Comedy. I performed at a couple of different clubs over in Indianapolis that year. I actually got to do a little bit of traveling doing comedy. And I think I averaged about 17 shows a month that year, which is quite a lot for somebody that's full-time. Plus, of course, I was doing a lot running Wiley's at the time, helping to run Wiley's. So that was a very busy year. And by the end of it, I was extremely burned out. And around October, I decided I was going to take a break.
Okay.
And every time I decided I was going to take a break, somebody would offer me a show, and I'd go like, okay, fine.
All right, yeah. I mean,
and then the next day, somebody call and say, hey, I'm doing this show. You want to? Okay, fine.
well, because part of it is like what you said with networking. If it's like, if I don't do this show, what if that's where I meet somebody who wants to do something big or more?
Right.
So you'd almost kick yourself for not doing it. So I could understand getting burnt out because you're doing it every weekend or, even during the week at some point. So
I think I did. I think I did a 14-day stretch where I actually think I had 15 shows in 14 days once.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, it was a very busy couple of weeks there.
That's amazing.
So ultimately, who were your influences for doing what you do now?
A lot. I have a lot. Early on, of course, I loved a lot of the British comedy. I loved Benny Hill. I used to sneak up and watch that when I was a kid and was supposed to be in bed. Got in trouble many nights watching Benny Hill. I grew up in the 80s, so of course Gallagher was real big. Unfortunately, he went the way of the Sledge-O-Matic and kind of became nothing but a gimmick. But when he his early stuff, I thought he was brilliant. Even the Sledge-O-Matic, the idea of it was brilliant, but it just got to where that was all he did, and he played to the low. Made a shit ton of money, but he played to the lowest common denominator. He just became a gimmick, which sucks because when I was a kid, I thought he was brilliant. But Richard Jeni is another favorite of mine. That's where I love the rants he used to do because he'd go on 10 minutes where it didn't even feel like he'd stop to take a breath.
Jeez.
I don't know if you've ever seen any Richard Jeni. He unfortunately committed suicide several years ago, but he was brilliant. He was a brilliant comic. I think he was in one movie, and he played Jim Carrey's friend in The Mask.
Oh.
Okay.
That was Richard Jeni. I think that was the only mainstream movie he ever did. But his comedy he had, I think, 8 or 9 HBO specials. Wow. I think you might be able to find some of them on Netflix, maybe.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. So,
but he was definitely a favorite.
Wow. I love George Carlin. He's one of mine.
Yeah, George Carlin's classic. I mean, there are so many classics that you can throw out there as well that we probably a lot of us wouldn't exist without. Even Rodney Dangerfield. I didn't like his stand-up as much as I liked his interviews because he was just so quick and so nuts anyway and funny as shit.
No, it's funny. Like a lot of comedians, like I feel like whenever a comedian would do an interview, I feel like the interviewer is like, "Tell us a joke." It's like, come on, man. Like that's not what I'm here for.
Exactly. Well, it's kind of like my show. I've had comedians come on my show and they're trying to do shtick. It's like, nope, shut up. We're having a discussion.
Yeah.
This is not why you're here. If I want to see your comedy, I can go to one of your shows. This is one of your shows. This is the radio.
Exactly. I can understand that. I really
get to know you more.
But then I also see their point of view where they're like, okay, maybe if I say a few of my materials, that'll get more people to come to my thing, and then I can do this. And it's because it's such a like dog eat dog industry as far as is.
Oh yeah.
And I mean all that. I mean, geez, podcasting. And there's like 6 million podcasts in America.
At least. I feel like I've been on half of those. And still nobody knows who the hell I am.
I mean, that's the thing. Like we do our show and, we have a lot of fun doing it, and we've got a small but loyal following, but we're growing. Huh?
There you go. In 6 years doing the radio and 4 years doing the podcast, I never really tried to get any sponsorship. I did have one sponsor for a time, and it was decent money. It was nice, but anytime somebody asked me, well, what are your downloads look like? So I don't know. I don't look. I don't. There's so many different places that it goes out to, not just from my RSS feed. So I don't know where all the hits are coming from. So I can only look at one website. Of all the different stuff that's out there. So I have no idea what it's actually doing. It might be doing nothing else than what I see, but I do it for fun. I do it because I love doing it. And I figure if the numbers are there, great. If the numbers aren't there, I'm still going to do it.
Exactly. And that's how we've been as well. And we get to meet so many awesome people like yourself and be on your show, be on other shows, talk a bunch of shit, just have a lot of fun. And that's really what it's all about, and if a sponsor comes, great. If not, it is what it is. So,
well, it's just like making movies. There are some I get paid to do, some I do not. I enjoy the ones I don't get paid as much as the ones I do get paid.
Exactly.
I would do the ones I get paid on, even if I didn't get paid. So,
exactly.
So, I love doing them.
Well, we are going to take a very quick break, guys, and we will be right back. So hang tight.
The Life Radio Show, a proud member of the SJ Network and Breaking the Fourth Wall Entertainment. I'm your host, Don Smith. If you enjoy the show, like and follow the Life 1069 on Facebook and Don Smith Comedy on Twitter, or tune in live on Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. on WWSU 106.9 FM, or you can stream the show live at wwsu1069.org.
Hey, everybody. We're still here with Don Smith, and we hope you had a nice little break. We did as well. And I was going to ask you, Don, is there any current projects that are upcoming that you wanted to talk about?
Actually, we just wrapped one up. Fortunately, we squeezed it in through all the COVID stuff, doing all the set safety guidelines and everything. But
cool.
I'm executive producer on this one. I'm also one of the actors in it. It's called Black Wolf. It's the story of Billy Black Wolf getting a little revenge on some old high school bullies later in life. He ended up being a martial arts master, and they ended up being a bunch of criminals that kind of have their own little criminal gang, and he gets to take them out.
Damn.
Mostly financially sponsored by me, who plays I play Aaron Boldman, who is a millionaire brother that used to get picked on by the same guys. And we decided to finance his revenge tour. So
hell yeah. Cool. That is cool, man. I like that.
So that one is actually I believe it's made it through post-production. It is edited, and it's been out to some distributors. I think we have one on the hook just reeling in still. So hopefully that'll get released before too long.
Well, we wish you luck, man.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
hope the best for it.
There are actually, I mentioned during the break, I got a message about one that I got an update to the script that I'm really excited about. There are actually 2 more that are coming up as well. Some I can mention. Bulletproof Jesus is a new cinema lexicon that we're getting ready to work on, and it's about how it sounds. Jesus, fight some demons.
That's awesome.
And the other one is Red, White, and Black, where I get to play I get to be part of a buddy cop partnership where we're not really friends, but I co-star in this one with the amazing actor Robert Burns I've worked with and a lot of other stuff. So that one will be a lot of fun too, because it's a whole lot of action, a little bit of comedy.
Hell yeah!
Awesome.
Well, that's such a good balance. And Don, we plan on you being a regular friend of the show, so we'll continuously update people and
Perfect.
And be able to like post links and stuff like that as time goes on, because we love being on your show, and I hope you like being on our show. We're not done yet, because whenever we were on Don's show, and I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but we did a segment with him on his show that we thought was really awesome, which was where basically he pulled up just random ass weird news stories, and we just talked about them and made fun about them. And we are going to kind of test the waters with something that's maybe not quite as fun right now, because I don't know how offensive we could be in the future, and I don't know where we're going to go yet. So we are going to just basically ask random questions to Don. And
You're just putting me on the spot. I love it.
yeah, pretty much. But we're not going to ask anything too like wild, because we don't want to like be too weird about stuff at the moment. But
Gotcha.
there might be one unlucky guess in the future. We might ask something absolutely crazy. I don't know. But I guess the first thing I'll ask, have you ever been or wanted to go mountain climbing?
I have not. I've always wanted to. The problem is I'm over 300 pounds, so there aren't a lot of carabiners. There aren't a lot of carabiners that would hold me. But if there's any any attractive women out there that want to go mountain climbing, you can work your way up over here, because I'm getting.
Hey.
Oh, hold on. We can turn this into like
I'm a mountain of a man myself. So
we can turn this into like the mindless dating show. So
there you go.
Here we have Don Smith.
That's what I was hoping for, because I want a woman that's mindless.
Hey, dude.
There you go.
Yes. Hey, and our actual demographics statistically is half and half. 50% of women and 50% of men listen to this show.
Oh, I thought you were saying 50% of the women are mindless that listen to your show. Because that's
Probably true.
I would say 50% of the men, at least 50% of the men are also mindless. Not interested. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but
yeah.
All right, so now we know it's vag, not dom.
Right.
Okay.
But
right.
I'm glad there was some question in that to begin with, I guess. Because I'm a bit of a Renaissance man. I do the theater. It's okay.
It was the big manly beard that was throwing me off. I wasn't sure.
Beard, man.
Yep, he's growing that beard just to hide it. That's what it is.
He's actually a Balchinian.
How'd you know? Sorry.
Scratch away. So, speaking of your beard, how long did it take you to grow it?
I was completely down to bare chin a little over 3 years ago, and how that happened. At Wiley's, every year for Halloween we do a a dead comedians tribute show.
Oh, cool.
And that year I decided that I was going to be John Belushi. So I shaved. I had a beard at the time, and I shaved it completely off. I kept the sideburns down to here, and I did John Belushi's version of Joe Cocker's "A Little Help from My Friends." Which, if you've never seen Joe Cocker perform that song, watch it, and then watch John Belushi perform that song, and then watch him back to back. Because Belushi does such a great job of mimicking him. Because Joe Cocker, when he sings, he's very animated. And he'll be like, like that, and to watch John Belushi. So that's what I did at Wiley's, to the point where I have a scar on my elbow.
Oh shit!
Where I commit, because I figured I shaved my beard for this. I'm going to commit to the bit, and I rolled off the stage at the end of the song, and I cut the hell out of my arm.
Oh man!
But I was rolling, and I got there. I was like, "Well, fuck it, I'm going for it now." And I
there you
flopped
go.
off the side of the stage.
That's commitment. That's real acting right there, man.
Yeah, that was, and it was great. It was wonderful. I have a picture somewhere of me as John Belushi. Let me see if I can find it on my phone, because
That would be incredible.
Yeah, that would be really great. Yeah,
I remember watching him on that Celebrity Rehab, and he was just a fucking nut.
Oh yeah, John Belushi. Yeah, he was.
We have a tradition here on the Mindless Morning Show, and
Oh, whoa. Yeah.
Is that John Belushi?
it's so crazy how people that you see with beards, like all the time, when they shave it, it's like you're a different person. Like,
Oh yeah.
Like, it's so
when I
crazy.
when I shaved that off, because I had a beard not quite like this before, but it was still a fairly substantial beard before I shaved it off for that show. When I came out of the bathroom, my dog started barking at me because he didn't know who the hell I was.
yeah, dude.
So go ahead.
Josh, interrupt me. You ruined it. No, a buddy of mine, the same way. He always has a beard all the time. He shaved it when his kid was crying and freaking out, like pissed off and upset, didn't know who daddy was, because his daughter was like 2 at the time, and so yeah.
So
What were you gonna say, Josh?
I was going to say, when I worked at Toys R Us, we had this one guy who always had a beard. And one day he shaved it completely clean. And he came in and I could not stop staring at him. I was like, dude, you were like born for a beard. Otherwise, you straight up look like a fucking pedophile. And working at Toys R Us, you need to go home. I was like, you need to glue it on or something. Like,
I never used to keep a beard for any length of time. I would grow it out, but most of my life I've been fairly clean shaven. About 8 years ago, I started working at a place I'm not going to name. When they hired me on, I had a beard. Then I told them at the time, I said, because I would grow one out and shave it, but most of the time I'd stay clean shaven. But I told them when they hired me on, I said, if the beard's ever an issue, just let me know. It doesn't matter. I'll shave it.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. About probably 4 months later, it's getting a little longer. And the boss says, well, that beard's getting a little long. And I said, well, like I've always told you, if it's ever a problem, just let me know and I'll shave it off. And oh no, you're fine. I ran into the CEO of the company, of the network,
Oh hell!
about 2 weeks before that conversation with the boss, I ran into and he said my name like 3 times. It's the first time he ever met me, and he said my name 3 times. And as I walked away from that conversation, I looked at the guy I worked with, and I said, "You realize he did that to remember my name, and this beard's gone."
Oh,
And sure enough, I ended up in the boss's office just shortly after he told me it was fine. I'm in the boss's office, and he says he's got the handbook there, and he's got the page with the personal grooming printed out, because I had a beard, but it was always, it was kept neat and trimmed. It wasn't like out to here. So they actually changed their rules, because their original rules said that you could have a neatly trimmed beard and mustache, no other facial hair, which made me laugh. I said, so you're saying I can have the beard and mustache, but the eyebrows got to go? Because that's what this says. And, well, they rewrote their rule to where the beard wasn't allowed to be longer than 1 inch.
Oh.
And I was the only person that had to adhere to that rule, because there was somebody in one of the other areas of the network that had one that's way longer than mine is now.
Yeah, wow.
And he was fine. They wanted mine gone. So I promised myself at that point, this has been 8 years ago, that as long as I worked at that place, I would never have a beard under 1 inch long.
Yeah.
And I kept it there for 5 years working at that place. And then shortly after I left there is when I did the show at Wiley's where I was John Belushi. That's why I was able to shave it off, because I didn't work there anymore.
Yeah. You held up your end of the deal that they didn't honor, but
that was the thing. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I would have shaved it, but why go about it like that? Because that's what he said. He told me he'd been arguing with the bigwigs for a couple of weeks. I was like, so now not only do they know my name, they now think I'm argumentative, and I'm fighting them on this. Now they know my name, and not for a good reason.
Right. Yeah.
That was kind of, I thought that was really shitty right there.
Yeah. I used to work for the most well-known rat in the world for about 7 years, so I always had to keep a really clean shaven face, and I hated it because they'd always talk about tattoos. That was my biggest argument. No tattoos were allowed to be visible, and I said, well, then fire every Spanish woman with tattooed eyebrows.
There you go.
Yeah.
and they looked at me and they're like, no, it doesn't work that way. And I'm like, it does. It says here, fine print, body modifications or of any kind of.
Yeah.
See, I work in a lot of medical facilities now. I'm a maintenance tech, HVAC, electrical, plumbing, all that fun stuff.
HVAC here.
I'm good at what I do, so I'm fairly safe, because most of the facilities I work in, they actually have policies against this kind of facial hair. But I'm a contractor.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't mess with me, because there have been I have set buildings that I'm the main tech at. And they've tried to pull me out of some of those, and they have got so many angry emails.
Oh, wow.
From the people in charge of those facilities saying, don't you dare take him out of this building.
Right.
So I'm fairly safe, beard and all, fortunately.
Hell yeah. That's perfect. That's a good place to be. That's a good place to be. So have you ever seen that hoodie that's got little lines on it down your chest, and it has titles of what your title is because of your beard length?
I have not.
When your beard hits a certain tag, that's your new title. They've got wizard, they've got master, they go all the way down to God. I think God is your belly button.
Okay, I don't think I could ever handle that.
That's hardcore, man. Yeah.
Well, for one, that's a lot of length. For another thing, it's a lot of pressure being a god.
I get it. I mean,
I must say though, I envy what you already have as is, because I know that takes a lot of work. At one point, I had my chin down to at least here, and it was annoying. The mustache, it gets annoying to keep trim and out of your mouth when you're eating food and shit.
I got to keep it trimmed up here just because it would get out to here if I didn't.
Yeah,
and I don't want it out to here.
My struggle with the facial hair is I like the idea of having a beard. But I feel like if you have a beard, you got to have the mustache too, or you look like you're Amish.
Right.
That's not okay. Yeah, you do look Amish. I look Amish. Yeah, because I did get rid of my mustache for a moment in time just to see what I would look like, and because my wife kept complaining, she's like, "I'm tired of getting hair in my kisses."
Yeah. So my problem.
Yeah, exactly. And I still kept getting hair in my mouth. So,
but my problem is my mustache doesn't meet in the middle, so I look like I'm trying to do a mariachi look. So
neither does mine, man.
Yeah, yours meets more than mine does, though. Mine's.
I kind of do this,
you try to
kind of pinch a little mini Hitler here.
Yeah.
Put some pomade on it.
A little mohawk going in there.
Basically.
So one of our other questions, and I will say I have kind of thrown a few of these questions in here without anybody even knowing. But one of those was going to be when you talked about your scar on your arm. I was going to ask you, what was your worst injury you've ever had?
I don't know. They all pretty much sucked.
Yeah.
Well, I was talking about today. I was talking today about some of the people that I've worked with that just can't handle an injury, Because I'll cut myself on my hand pretty good, and I'll wrap it up in electrical tape, and I'll finish the job I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then I'll go take care of it.
Yep.
And there was one guy I worked with, loved him to death, great guy, but he cut himself on this piece. It was just a piece of grounding wire, and he freaked out. I thought he hurt himself bad, and I followed him into the office, and I was like, "Dude, are you okay?" And he was turning white like he's about to pass out. Wow. I ended up having to take him to the hospital. He got one stitch.
I don't think I've ever heard somebody say stitch.
Yeah,
I know.
The butterfly stitch on it. The little butterfly bandage.
He got stitch. And I started laughing because I had to pick him up after I took him to the hospital. I had to go back and pick him up, and he said, they gave me a stitch. I was like, did you say a stitch? I've never heard of that. Did they put a Snoopy band on it for you, Charlotte? Are you okay? Do you need to have I just rode him for weeks over there.
Yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
Now,
I don't think I've ever heard of one stitch.
I haven't.
I went to change filters on an air handler once, one of our big HVAC air handlers. And in order to get to the filters, they were up on this bi-level, and it was this graded floor that they just cut a hole in. Well, where they cut the hole, there were sharp corners sticking down.
Oh,
yeah, sheet metal is no fun.
No. I knew they were there. I'm climbing up. As soon as I look up to see where they are, one of them stabs me right in the scalp. So I put my hand up here. There's a little bit of blood. I was like, no, I got to get this done because it's a pain in the butt to get everything up there and change these filters. So I went ahead and I changed everything out. I come back down. The guy I was working with was about to puke because I thought I was sweating.
Dude, your beard is soaked in blood.
I had blood running down my face. My hair was red. And this guy's about to pass out. I was like, oh, I guess I better walk to the ER.
Yeah, man, you can lose a lot of blood.
So I walked on over to the ER. I was like, you guys, they're, oh my God.
Yeah, they think
it's all right. Just check it out. See if I get a stitch.
It's so awesome because Josh did HVAC tech for years, 7 years.
No
Yeah. That's what he did.
That's what I did for the rat.
Yeah, for the rat. Yeah. And I am here we go. Every episode, bro. I'm a licensed plumber, and I've been one for 10 years.
So wait. Don, as a fellow HVAC tech, can you agree with me that plumbers that plumbers are HVAC technicians who had a lobotomy?
I think plumbers are HVAC techs that like poop. Because HVAC techs are plumbers that say, I ain't doing that.
Yeah.
Now I have to interject and say I only do new construction and remodel. I don't.
Okay. Well, that's a good deal then. Yeah.
So I like poop, but from afar. You know
right. Right. You like to admire from a distance.
I dabble, but that's it.
You dabble in doo-doo.
I dabble in doo-doo a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. So you do plumbing as well, though. So you do like your own plumbing at your house?
HVAC, man, all crafts.
I don't like to. Of all the things I do, I hate plumbing the most.
Yeah.
Just hate it.
Because
I'm a all around maintenance, so I do. I mean, HVAC, electrical, plumbing, construction, drywall, painting, pretty much whatever needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
There are some things that I don't mess with because it's like, okay, like garage door springs, those will kill you. I'm not gonna mess with those.
God, those are crazy. My friend almost ripped his thumb off when he was working for a company. It was like hanging.
Oh shit!
Yeah, man.
That's a bad injury right there.
Yeah. I will say I've had a head injury somewhat similar to yours with the head. I was in a remodel and I had to reroute these 3/4 water lines because the plumber that did the house back in the 70s crossed them, and I had to uncross them for the remodel because we got to do it right. And I reached way out in there, and I was trying to figure out which one was cold and which one was hot because it is a whole whole ordeal. Basically, I lifted up to get a better grasp on the pipe, and my head stuck right in a nail that was coming through the subfloor. Right, got me right there. And I was like, fuck, and I just kind of brushed it off. And I came out, and the guy I was working with was like, holy shit, because the blood was running and I thought I was sweating too, because it was summer in Texas.
Well, you get in the middle of doing the job, you don't think about it. You just wipe the sweat away and keep going until you realize that that's blood streaking down your face.
Just rub a little bit of the grease in it. It'll coagulate.
So I did what I'm so proud of. I embellished it. I rubbed it and made it a little bit crazy. And then I took a picture and sent it to my wife. And she was like, what the fuck? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm cool. Yeah.
I sneezed.
No problem, babe. Nothing I can't handle.
Yeah. It's all good. Yeah.
What kind of plumbing are you doing? Oh, yeah. So I'm plumbing a slaughterhouse right now.
I did the remodel at Hell's Gate. So there you go. Well, that's cool, man. So another random question. Do you play any instruments?
I play several poorly.
Hey, you're like me.
Over the years, because I love music. I absolutely love music. I mean, all kinds that aren't country. But I
oh, man. Why does everybody got to hate on country? I don't get it.
Just new country. Like anything past 85 is garbage. But, the older country, even bluegrass I can handle.
Fair enough.
My grandmother down in Tennessee was in a bluegrass band for most of her life, and that stuff kicks ass. But this new pandering to the redneck drunken country, I can't do it. I can't.
You don't like my red solo country.
I love, it's great that you love your beer, your pickup trucks, and your girl. That's fine. I don't need you singing the same song that these other 7 things have.
Or the girl leaves because he's singing country.
I got a fun story about meeting Dierks Bentley, though. But no, I love all kinds of music, and throughout my life, I've tried to play the drums. I've tried to play bass. I did okay with bass for a little while. I've sang in heavy metal bands or screamed in heavy metal bands. I play the guitar a little bit. I play the ukulele a little bit. I play the piano. I play a lot of things a little bit, just enough to suck at all of them.
Very nice.
I respect the hell out of that, though, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I just play a car. Wow. I just play.
Beep beep.
I remember Jackal doing something similar with a chainsaw in the 90s.
Yeah, I just play guitar, and I'm okay, but I'm not really good. So it's cool, even to be mediocre at several instruments is really respectable. I didn't say mediocre. I'm terrible. Okay. I was trying to help you out a little bit, but
I appreciate that. that. But do you want to hear my Dierks Bentley story?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's really stupid, but he didn't like me. What happened is I worked at the local university here that has one of the big arenas, Irvin J. Nutter Center. And I was working the concert down there. We're getting ready for it was the Dierks Bentley concert was coming through. I had no idea who this dude was. It's not my genre.
Right.
So I'm talking with another guy, and I was like, who are we setting up for tonight? And he's like, well, Dierks Bentley is here. I just giggled. I was like, Dierks? Who the fuck names their kid Dierks? Was his mom trying to hold in a fucking sneeze? What are we going to name him? Dierks? And this guy's face goes white, and I just look at him. I'm like, what? And he points, and I turn around. This fucking dude's standing there. And here I am shitting on his name. And I just chuckled, and I said, you must be Dierks, and walked away.
Dude,
that is awesome.
He probably remembers that because he's like,
He probably talked about it on like a CMT fucking awards show or something. This asshole.
Yeah, he was probably real ashamed of that moment. This guy didn't know who I was.
Wow.
So I'm gonna sing a song about
He
it.
fired his publicist after that one.
He knocked me down.
This guy's a redneck with a beard. He should fucking know who I am.
So you should look out for his recent albums, man. He may have sang a song about you, and you guys encounter.
But I don't want to listen to any of them.
That's true. Yeah,
You listen
never
to some
know.
of them and let me know.
Will do, man.
Oh, that's amazing. So we do tend to somehow, in a lot of our episodes with interviews, we somehow tend to segue into space topics. I don't know why. That's kind of what people talk about. Would you ever go into space if given the chance?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Absolutely. Why the hell not? Who wouldn't?
I mean, it's terrifying, but
Probably me, unless if they can't put me to sleep when they send me up and out, because like I don't even like roller coasters. I certainly don't want to leave the fucking atmosphere in the space.
No, I want that full rocket burst. I want to feel my lips on the back of my neck. That's what I want that full.
Yeah,
that's what I would like most.
Yeah, I see those videos of like the astronauts and the Air Force pilots like training, like going under like 8 Gs. They're like, like they can't even breathe properly.
Absolutely, I would. Wasn't there for a while? They were looking for people to sign up to colonize Mars. Wasn't that a thing for a while?
Yes.
Yeah.
They still are doing stuff like in SpaceX, still doing something like that where they're planning.
Yeah, man. That's why we're trying to get we're trying to get more vegetables out there. Everyone to like vegetables because it's easier to cultivate vegetables out there than it is livestock.
Yeah. See that, and that's the thing. They're going to need HVAC techs.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit,
They're going to
man.
need plumbers. They're going to need electricians.
And producers and comedians.
Comedians who's going to entertain them when they're up there.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I would say a comedy show on Mars, I would probably draw just as many people.
Yeah.
Hey,
But if you consider that by percentage of the population, I would say 60% of those people would end up knowing who I was.
Yeah, so you would have like a definitely a better crowd though, because you would even have some Martians there.
Whoa. Oh, I'm sure.
Like I don't know if he's laughing or heckling me. What is this?
Cleveland gets it.
Cleveland gets it. Cleveland. Yeah, dude. Wow, this is the second episode in a row where we talked about Martians.
I mean,
I mean, it just happens.
It's going to be the year for it. I mean, so yeah, I don't think we told you, but this is airing on the 1st of January. So it is a new year. It is 2021.
Oh, this is the New Year's show?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I haven't recorded mine yet. I have to record my New Year's Day show tomorrow and get it out there.
So, I mean, before we first off, it's been an absolute fucking pleasure having you. We had a great time on your show, and it's been awesome to have you. And I'm sorry it took us so long
no worries,
to get to this.
It was a blast, and I got to start the new year off right.
There you go.
That's
there
right.
You go.
That's
mindless as all can be.
Absolutely. 2020 was mindless all the way through. We might as well start 2021 the same way.
And that's why we started, is to try to like, hey, I know everything kind of sucks. We're trying to be fun, so come on,
Yeah.
So that's essentially what we started for. So
we're gonna have all your links and whatnot in the description. Is there anything you want to say? Do you want to give a promotion of your podcast, your radio, etc., your work,
or a long speech?
Yeah,
long speech. You can always find me at thelife1069.com. You can go to my link tree, linktr.ee/the Life Radio Show. It has links to every single whatever podcast app you use. It's going to have a link to that. You can also you can follow me on the Life 1069 on Facebook, Don Smith Comedy on Twitter. Check out Wiley'sComedy.com if you're ever in the Dayton area. Look up Wiley's, some great shows coming up. We have Greg Hahn coming back, which is fantastic. If you've never seen Greg Hahn live, that is an insane ball of energy that you have to see live in order to appreciate. But you can also look at you can check me out on IMDb under Donald Smith. a lot of films out there you can check out just over the summer. We the Goocher release as well as Black Mamba, neither of which are porn, so you're safe. They also re-released a couple of Cinema Lexicon films I was in. They re-released a film called 3 Knee Deep as King Killer. They finally released Straight Outta Hate, which I think Burning Down Babylon is the new name of that one, which is a very, very important, non-funny, very important movie to watch. It covers a lot of very recent political developments in the Black Lives Matter movement. Definitely a good movie. It's an action movie. It doesn't get all preachy, but it is a really interesting perspective on that movement.
Wow.
There's also, you can go to Amazon Prime. You can go to Amazon, check out Boggy Creek, the Bigfoot series. I'm on episode 2 as a featured lead, episode called The Poacher, I think. No, called Trapped. I can't remember. Go there and check it out.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll definitely be posting
lot of stuff coming up. Hopefully we'll get Black Wolf released before too long, and we'll start working on some other ones. I've got plenty of things coming.
I'm really glad that COVID hasn't totally obliterated the production industry for film and stuff. That's good.
It hurt it for a while, but the independent filmmakers, we're not going anywhere. We started it out of love. We're going to keep doing it out of love. It's always going to be there.
Hell yeah.
Just because, I mean, we already go broke doing it most of the time. So,
Right. Hey, why not? Just keep it going.
When they shut us down, they saved us money.
Awesome. I love it. Awesome, Don. Well, it has been awesome to have you on, and eventually we will probably want to have you back on because this has been a blast, and you can become a regular friend of the show. And,
I love that.
So yeah, it's been great.
And welcome to 2021, everyone.
Yeah, welcome.
May it be way better than 2020. May all your dreams come true.
Oh, I hope so.
I mean, we said that in 2019, and
by that.
yeah. Ooh.
We said that in 2019 that I can't wait for next year, and look what happened. And,
exactly.
That's true.
We're gonna wish we were back in 2020. I'm sure at some point in 2021. So who knows?
Oh, definitely. The way things are going, it's all downhill. We're screwed.
We're screwed.
Why the fuck do you think I would volunteer to go to Mars?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true.
I want to clearly fuck up another planet.
Let's do it. Yeah, and it's funny because our Christmas episode was called Dark Christmas, where we basically shit on Christmas, and our New Year's episode was kind of like New Year's sucks. So
here's the thing: the traditions in my family have gone to crap this year because for Christmas this year, my brother decided to buy everybody the Christmas dinner. Fucking KFC. I can't eat KFC chicken. The last several times I've eaten KFC chicken, I have just been projectile out of both ends. I have never eaten KFC and not gotten food poisoning. I can't. Wow. So that was my Christmas. I had a couple of side dishes. I was like, that's all I'm going to have because that chicken's going to kill me. So, and now I just found out because one of my nephews was exposed to COVID that my parents decided to cancel the New Year's Day celebration. So I'm not going to get my pork and sauerkraut. And I'm kicking my nephew's ass for that one.
Yeah, I would
for sure.
That's what I told my mom. I said, I don't mind it being canceled, but you're canceling this for some asshole that was exposed, and he's not going to quarantine. So,
oh my God, yeah,
send him away.
So I'm going to go chain his ass to his, somewhere in his house. I'm going to chain him to the furnace or something. He ain't going anywhere. Like I'm putting you under quarantine, boy.
Yeah, hell yeah,
do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I'm going to miss my pork and kraut, you're going to get quarantined the hard way.
Yep. It's got to be done, man. It's got to be done. Cool. Well, Don, once again, man, it was so awesome to have you on, and we will definitely be talking to you more into the future, and hopefully 2021 is a good year for everybody. And we will be back with another Mindless Morning and Mindless Midnight episode next week. So stay tuned. Oh, and before we go, I have to say it again because I've been saying it every single time. If you haven't switched over to YouTube, do it. Because every single thing we do is on YouTube now. And sometimes we make stupid faces and we talk about bullshit. And Yeah. Okay. Well, and Josh did that shit. Yeah. So you didn't. Yeah, it's just a better show if you can. If not, we are everywhere else. So just stay tuned, guys, and check out Don Smith's work. And yeah, I can't wait to talk more. And hopefully everybody has a good year. Love you all.
Good luck, everyone. Have a hell of a 2021.
I did have a person who brought a Ouija board in. He climbed over the fence, got down in the well, put the Ouija board on his lap, and he had a box of razor blades. And he started slicing his hand and then smearing the blood all over the Ouija board, trying to conjure something up out of the well, which many people believe is the portal to hell.
Well, isn't that special? Oh, I'm so scared.